The Project Moon community has always struck me as very interesting, to say the least. And I'm mostly going to be focusing on Limbus Company because that's the one that I know the most about. A thing you noticed about Project Moon fans is that they call themselves sleeper agents, and they wake up the moment anyone says anything somewhat related to one of Project Moon's games, or someone uses a piece of music from one of Project Moon's games. I can think of 3 pretty good examples of this happening at the top of my head. One of it involves this piece of animation that has a character in the thumbnail that is smoking and has a hairstyle that looks a lot like Ryoshu from Limbus Company, and they're here. The comments is just flooded with, that looks a lot like Ryoshu. The other 2 examples involves tweets made by 2 separate people, one of them being by someone talking about how certain creatures can still fly even with broken wings, another being a famous movie maker, director, making a movie adaptation of the book Wuthering Heights. You can imagine what the replies of both of those tweets look like. This also kind of serves as a way for them to advertise Project Moon's games without Project Moon themselves doing the advertising because, indie company and all that. Now, I'll admit, this type of behavior, as fun as it is to be in on the joke yourself, from an outsider's perspective, well, there are several reactions people can have. Either they just don't care and they move on, or they see it and they're very confused as to what any of this is, or they are annoyed seeing it constantly everywhere on YouTube videos that has nothing to do with their game that they're talking about, which can result in people not checking out any of Project Moon's games because they assume, if the community acts like this, that means the game is also bad, even though that's objectively the wrong way to see it, but there are people who think that way. And as for my thoughts on how the community acts, well, I'll just let this clip from a YouTube video do the talking for me.
When you're one of the first 3 or 4 people to make that comment, it's almost interesting. By the time you are the 100th person to make essentially the same comment, it tells me a few things about you, such as you're not very observant that you didn't notice 99 people had already made the comment. You're also not very imaginative. It becomes trite, derivative, and boring.
And yes, I am very aware of the fact that this was from a Guts and Black Powder video, but the 2 communities act very similarly in terms of the inside jokes that they constantly repeat, and I do agree with the guy in the video, it is boring. Think of better jokes, please.